Hi book lovers, it's Jenny at Julia Baby Jen, and this is my FrightFall Readathon wrap-up. So I had a lot of fun this week. I did the FrightFall Readathon by Seasons of Readings, and it was so much fun. She has a blog. She also has a Facebook group, which I learned was a lot of fun to talk to everybody about it. This week the theme was scary books, obviously, for FrightFall, and I really liked it. I mean, I love October. I love scary books, so this was totally up my alley, and I had a great time. I finished 5 books for a total of 1,748 pages, which is awesome. I did another readathon this week as well. So if you combine the pages for those 2 readathons, this week I read 3,172 pages, which is just awesome. Let's get started talking about the books. I have talked about a few of these already, so I'm not going to go into depth on them, but I will leave the link to the video below where I did go in depth about these books if you'd like to hear more about them. First, I read Dearly Departed by Leah Habel. This is 470 pages. I really enjoyed this book. I gave it a solid 4 stars. It is a futuristic zombie steampunk book with a little bit of romance to it, and I loved it. I thought it was fun. I was hoping I would because I love steampunk and I love zombies, but this one was really a fun read. I really enjoyed it. I love the world building. I really loved it. So I'm going to try to read the sequels. I talked a lot more about it in that previous video, so I will leave that link below if you'd like to hear more about it. I then read As Red as Blood by Salis Samaka. This one is 256 pages, and I gave this one 3 stars. It was an okay read. I didn't love it. It was a murder mystery it's a murder mystery, and I was expecting it to be a lot creepier than it was, but I just didn't feel that thrill factor I was hoping for, but the actual murder mystery part of it was pretty good. But like I said, it just wasn't the greatest read ever. I did talk a lot about this book in my other video if you would like to know more about it. I read Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. This was actually a reread for me. I love this series. It's been a really long time since I read the first book, so I was really glad I reread it. I'd forgotten a lot that happens in it, and it was just as much fun the second time. I just flew right through it. It's 348 pages and 5 stars. I love this story. So I hate to talk too much about it because, in my opinion, what's really going on with the Peculiar Children is a nice surprise and a twist if you don't know anything about it. So I'm not going to tell you specifically what it's all about because I think it's fun to be surprised. If you already know, then I'm sorry. But I didn't know anything about the children going into it, and it was such a great surprise when I found out what was really going on. So basically, in this world, this is about a young boy named Jacob who thinks he's perfectly normal, but he grows up and his grandfather, he's very close to his grandfather, tells him all these amazing stories about the peculiar children in this orphanage he stayed in the 1940s during World War II. It was in a little island off the coast of England. And apparently the bird lady who was the mistress of the orphanage took really good care of the kids, and they had all kinds of adventures. And then he had all these photos of them where they're doing funny things, like one of them is the little girl who's levitating. And Jacob, as he grew up, realized that these are just fairy tales, and it's just his grandfather trying to make a happy situation out of the fact that he had to escape the Nazis, and his family ended up dying in the concentration camps. So that's all he thinks. Well, then one day his grandfather dies, and he is killed by a wild pack of dogs, is what the police determine. But Jacob, when he goes to his house after he calls Jacob, and Jacob goes to the grandfather's house to find out what's going on, he's terrified and screaming, and then he needs his guns, and he has dementia at this point, so Jacob didn't know anything about what was going on. But he gets there, and he thinks he sees this really scary creature in the woods. Well, then, after he talks about it, everybody thinks he's crazy, so he's in therapy. And the therapist determines that he should really go to this old orphanage and find out more about this orphanage and this lady and what happened to the children there and that kind of thing. They figure out which island it is, so he and his dad take a trip to the island to find out what's going on. And it's nothing like what you would have expected. That's all I can say. It is so good. This has a little bit of element of sci-fi with some time travel. It has all kinds of fantasy woven in with some supernatural creatures. It has it's just awesome. There's just so many things I love about this story. And then the thing that's really awesome about this series is the author includes all these photographs to point there are different points in the story. So they're really fun to look at. They're creepy and weird, and they're old and vintage, and that's so my kind of thing. So I think that adds such a cool element to the series. So anyway, I just love this series. It's 5 stars, adore it, so much fun. So then I moved on to a reread of Hollow City, which is the second book in the series. This is 398 pages. I like this one even more than the first one. I really enjoyed this one because there's a lot of World War II in it, which I really liked. And a lot of it takes place in London, which is also really fun. So this is a very good sequel. I really enjoy it. So this was a really fun read. And then I have not read Library of Souls yet, which is the third and final book in the trilogy, but I just started it today, so I didn't get a time to do it for the readathon, but I am reading that next, so I'm really excited to finally finish this trilogy. And the last book I read for this readathon was Ghost in Trouble by Carolyn Hart. This was 276 pages. It is an adult murder mystery story. And it has a little paranormal element to it because the main character is a ghost, and she is called back to Earth to help and protect certain people and given missions. And so her job in this one is to protect a girl who is a woman who has gone back to her hometown to investigate the death of one of her dear friends, and her life is now in danger because she doesn't believe that it was an accident. She thinks he was murdered. And so the murderer is now set his sights on her. So the main character in this is Bailey Ruth. And this is actually a series. This is actually the third book in the series. And I didn't know that when I picked it up. But it's one of those series that you can kind of pick up a book anywhere in the series and read it. It's not that hard to follow. So she's a really silly, fun ghost. She doesn't follow the rules at all. She breaks the rules all the time and gets away with it. And she is very obsessed with her fashion and what she's wearing when she does appear to these people. So it was kind of a fun read. It took a little while for me to get into it. I did eventually get into it, and the murder mystery part of it was very good. I did not guess who done it, so that's always good. I gave it 3 stars. It was an enjoyable, fun mystery. So that was my FrightFall readathon. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. I will have to keep an eye on Seasons of Reading to see what their next readathon is because I had fun. I thought it was really great. And I met some new people, and the Facebook group goes on even when there's not a readathon. Everybody talks about what they're reading, so that's always fun too. I will leave links below for both the blog and the Facebook group if you'd like to join, and you can join in that anytime you want and talk about books, so that's always fun. Leave me a comment below if you've read any of these books or you have any thoughts on any of them. I would love to hear it. I hope everyone has a good day, and I will talk to you later. Bye.